And we're back on Southeast Texas Weekly with Congressman Brian Bavin, who's been good enough to join us and talk about some things going on in Washington right now, how you try to hold back. You've been in league a little bit with Congressman, with our 14th Congressional District Congressman, Randy Weber, to try to confront this president on many issues that you believe are wrong, among them the executive orders and what you've called overreach. Give us an idea of why because some of the polling says that the American people at large say, I don't mind these background checks. Some of the polling says, I wouldn't mind if you took a 50 millimeter cannon away from Joe Blow out in Montana. And oftentimes the critics and the Democrats will say, look, this shows the American people are in support of my gun restrictions. Give us your perspective on that.
Absolutely. I think the very fact that this president has circumvented the U.S. Congress, the legislative process. You know, our founding fathers set this government up to have three co-equal branches. Mm-hmm. And we have the judicial, the executive, and where I serve in the U.S. Congress, the legislative branch. The very fact that he has gone around us, made an end run around us, means that his legacy might be very short-lived, because the very next president, especially if it's a Republican, and we're certainly hoping that will be the case. It's hard to imagine another 4 to 8 years of policies under Mrs. Clinton, mm-hmm. Who says she's going to be going with Mr. Obama's in that same vein. Mm-hmm. But the next president could overrule and overturn and reject and refute every single one of those executive orders, including the Iranian nuclear deal.
$550 billion later, though.
$150 billion later. Yeah. You're exactly right. We've released these sanctions. I shouldn't say we, because I voted against this. This has been the U.S. House, Republican-controlled House, refused to pass that. The Senate could not take it up because a number of senators, just last week, they couldn't get to the 60 votes. But in the House, we had 49 Democrats who voted with us Republicans, and that was a veto-proof majority. But that is a dangerous deal for America, for the world, and we've got to stop this. And then in terms of guns, you know, just last week, El Chapo was recaptured in his hideout in Mexico, and we saw that one of the firearms in his extensive arsenal was a .50 caliber rifle, capable and designed to shoot down helicopters and to stop vehicles that had come from our own federal government under Eric Holder and the Obama administration in what we call the Fast and Furious program. Mm-hmm. It was a disastrous program that funneled thousands of firearms to the Mexican drug cartels, supposedly to try to harm our Second Amendment. Now, we'll mm-hmm. find this out, and I think this is what the Congress tried to do a year before last, and Eric Holder, the Attorney General, withheld information and did not tell the committee the truth, and he was held in contempt. And now that a federal judge has ruled that Obama's administration cannot hide behind executive privilege anymore, we're going to get to the bottom of this and hold Mr. Holder and those others that were in this deal responsible and hold them accountable. And I'm looking forward to hearing the truth and getting to the bottom of Fast and Furious, which cost the life of a U.S. Border Patrolman mm-hmm. and hundreds of Mexican citizens as well. It was a disastrous gun-running operation by the federal government.
We've talked important policy. Let's talk politics.
Sure.
Always less, maybe more interesting, at least in Iowa, and at least when you're talking about Donald Trump. Right. Donald Trump now attacking U.S. Senator Ted Cruz in Iowa. Cruz has made inroads from the polling vantage point. He's getting close. And yet, Donald Trump somehow secures the endorsement of former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. Are you surprised first by the endorsement, and where do you stand in this?
I am a very strong supporter of Senator Ted Cruz. I've known him for a number of years, and he's running a tremendous, disciplined, well-focused operation, his campaign. He ran for senator on the platform plank of repealing Obamacare, and he went up there, he filibustered, he did what he was supposed to be doing. He was unsuccessful, but he does what he says he's going to do. The
to
fact
be the best
that
president. Does that mean that you're against Donald Trump, or that, in other words, that you oppose Donald Trump, or is this more a matter of your supporting and endorsing Ted Cruz?
I'm supporting and endorsing Ted Cruz, and but I will say this: we have a very deep bench, a lot of great candidates running for president. Whomever is the Republican nominee for president, I will be supporting that person because, as I said just a few minutes ago, 4 to 8 more years of the Obama policies under Mrs. Clinton is unthinkable to me and for our country.
We thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Always a pleasure talking with you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Okay. You bet, Kevin. Thank you.
And thank you for being with us as well. We'll see you next time on Southeast Texas Weekly. We'll talk politics again. Thanks for coming by.